For context, my fiancé and I, female 26, have been together for 3 years. Finances are split until after marriage. We both have equally paying jobs. He doesn't pay when we eat out, for any repairs in our rental apartment, or for furniture and other items. I have tried to have conversations with him about how I always end up paying for almost everything. His excuse is that he's been saving for a new apartment. He has been saving for 2 years now, but he still spends half of his salary on himself, buying gadgets and gaming stuff. Whenever I try to argue about it, he says it's his money after all, and reminds me that he's saving up to buy an apartment for us. A few days ago, he called me and asked me to take him to the hospital to treat his ankle. It had been hurting him for weeks, but he only decided to get it checked now. I drove him there since he was in pain, but I was surprised when he told me to pay the bill. I asked him why he couldn't pay, and he brought up the new apartment he's been saving for again. I had enough, especially after he threatened not to add my name to the new apartment's title if I refused to help him out. Finally, I snapped and told him to pay for himself and stop using my money with the apartment excuse. Then I left. He had to pay, but he was furious, saying I had let him down in his time of struggle. He also told me that my attitude isn't partner material. I told him I felt like he was using the new apartment as an excuse to spend my money. But he said I had no empathy or sense of responsibility to support and help him out when he's doing me this huge favor and buying me an entire freaking apartment. He's calling me selfish and negative. I don't know. I feel guilty for doing this. And now he's avoiding me entirely. Not the idiot. You're being used. He's saving so he can have an apartment. You're not in his future plans. You're just the ATM he's draining, so he has enough saved up in the end. 100% when he has enough money for the apartment, he'll dump you, stop footing the bill, and leave him. Assuming there is any money being saved up, I would want to see with my own eyes how much he has saved. It's unreasonable for him to expect you to pay for his hospital bill, especially since he's been saving. OP, don't fall for this. You pay for everything while he spends his money on whatever he wants. I'm not really buying it that half of his salary goes into savings. If you're both saving, do so in a joint account that's split in case you break up. You're paying for everything and have nothing in return. The money he saves is not yours, just his. He's saying you're not partner material? Is this a joke? He's saving his money and living off of you. This is who he is, and marriage won't change him. Change him. Thank God you're seeing him for who he really is before you bind yourself to him legally. Believe the red flag he's waving in front of your face and run. I promise you, your name will never be on the deed to that apartment. Do you even have proof of this magical apartment money? No, of course you don't. Because, honey, there is no savings account. He hasn't saved for an apartment. He'll have an excuse when the time comes. Don't marry this user. You're worth more. My friend wanted to leave her husband, but she had nowhere to go. So she felt stuck in the marriage. So I offered to let her stay with me for a few months, since I had the space and my fiancé was working in the US for 5 months. When I told my fiancé she would be staying here, he told me he didn't want her staying in his home. My fiancé and my friend don't like each other, but I thought he'd be okay with it since he wouldn't be here anyway, and because I explained how awful her husband was to him. We argued about it multiple times, but I felt I needed to help her in this given situation, so I let her stay even though I knew he didn't want me to. He came home unexpectedly to surprise me and was mad because he found out she's been living here. He was going to tell her to leave, but didn't, because I started crying and practically begged him not to. But he's still angry at me for going behind his back and letting her live here when he made it clear he didn't want her in our home. He wanted me to tell her she had a week to leave, but I told him I couldn't because she has nowhere else to go. And she only filed for divorce because I said she could stay with me while she saved for her own place. So I feel responsible. Am I the idiot? At it, my friend publicly yelled at him for taking me for granted when we were at university, which is why he doesn't like her. She doesn't like him because she said he's arrogant and she still remembers how he used to be when we first started dating. You did what? You are the idiot. You both live there. You asked his opinion. You refused to accept his answer. Then you went behind his back and did what you wanted anyway. You're trying to guilt him into continuing your lie to make you not look like a bigger idiot to your friend. Enjoy finding a new place to stay with your friend away from your ex-fiancé. OP's fiancé owns the house and now the friend has squatter's rights. Ex-fiancé sounds correct? OP, this woman publicly and loudly insulted him for how he treated you. You took her into your shared home against his wishes. She lives there against his wishes. So in his eyes, you're choosing this woman over him, and she's allowed to interfere with your relationship? Because now he can't trust you to leave you alone at home. Who knows who else you'll let live there with you when he goes away. Oh yikes, then that's even worse. I guess Fiancé now has to try and evict them both. Joking. But I can't believe OP had the gall to just up and move someone into his house. I understand you wanted to help, but this was irresponsible and deceitful. This is your fault, and I hope you can clean up your mess for your friend's sake. I will go against the grain here and say that you are not the idiot if your friend is truly being abused and your fiancé is not even around for 5 months. He should have said, okay, fair enough, if he was at home too. But to turn away your friend from an abusive situation when he's not even around just seems too far. What does it matter to him if she's there while he's gone? As long as she moves out before he comes home, I don't see why he's being so harsh about it. There's something really grim about how fixated all these people are on the fact that her name isn't on the deed and it's therefore his house. First of all, it may be his house, but it's their home. You're not living there as some big act of generosity from him. You're living there because you're engaged to be married. I think your actions are understandable and well-intentioned, and people are assigning an insane amount of malice to you for trying to help your friend leave a bad situation. Honestly, if I were you, I would have been seriously reevaluating my relationship when he refused to help in the first place. My husband, 61, and I, 57, have 3 children. Brad, 24, who is female to male, Dana, 21, and Lisa, 19. Brad came out to us at 16 as trans. We told him we loved him, asked him how he wanted us to refer to him, and our entire family supported him. He wanted to be our son, Brad, Dana, and Lisa's brother and nephew and grandson, to other relatives. Everyone in our family has been nothing but supportive and embraced his identity from day one. His father, my husband, took him to Pride for many years and spent the whole day with him. Recently, Brad wrote a play for a local theater group about his experience as a trans man. He told us we didn't have to attend, but of course, we got tickets for opening night for all 4 of us. We were surprised to see 2 characters in the play, Deborah and Irving. Our names are Brenda and Isaac. They're very obviously the parents of the main character. Upon Brad's coming out, they were devastated and used several slurs. Irving became angry about his beautiful child who wanted to transition. They kept using Brad's dead name and referring to him as their daughter. They tried to put Brad into a mental hospital, and he left home. Those characters were not seen again for the rest of the play. It was billed as an autobiographical account of Brad's life so far. At the end, several people approached us and asked us what made us finally accept our son. Others gave us dirty looks and refused to acknowledge us otherwise. I approached Brad afterwards and asked why he had written the play this way. He tried to deflect and said it was because he wanted to tell his story in a way that would resonate with others, and said it was meant to be a story. When I pointed out that it was said to be autobiographical in several places, he replied that I had no idea what it was like to be him growing up, and that it was his story to tell. When I was asked about it again, I informed the person that the story was fictional, never happened, and that we had been nothing but supportive of Brad from day one. I later posted publicly on Facebook that Brad's play was fictional, had no basis in actual events, and that we had always loved our son for who he was. Family members who knew the situation have agreed that the play has no basis in reality, and I was right to defend my family. Brad has messaged me demanding I take the post down, saying that the play was not meant to be literal. He didn't even want us to come, and that I was conflating myself with a fictional character, and anybody who knows me knows the truth. I feel embarrassed But I'm wondering if I'm making too much of this because nobody who matters believes it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He's intentionally trying to make you and the rest of the family look bad. There was a reason he didn't want you to come. And it was because he knew that everything he was going to present was BS and you were going to call him out. It would have been fine if it was fictional because for many people it goes like that, but for him it wasn't like that. But how dare his family accept him and love him just as he is? Where's the drama in that? They cheated him of his saga of hardship and struggle. Family these days, and what they put their trans kids through. Acceptance, understanding, love. Unbelievable. Exactly. Brad didn't have a hard transition with his family. Instead of valuing his family, he comes off as resentful that he doesn't have dramatic material for his performing art. He knew he was wrong because he told his supportive parents that they didn't need to come see the play. He's also demanding that mom shut up instead of posting replies explaining why he allegedly felt like this. He's not making any defense. The only conclusion is that he has none. He knows it, and his behavior, which he thought was so supportive, was actually mean. His claim is a total lie. Why? Brad is jealous of other people's trauma and might be feeling the need to prove that he earned the right to be a true trans. I suggest talking to the theater program and discussing this. He's making it seem like an autobiography, which it's not. This can seriously affect you and your family's reputation in the community. It's not okay to do it all. We had one last really nice warm day, and I said I would take my son and his friends to the pool this morning. When he was texting everyone, he told me one of his friends had a cousin over and asked if we would join them. Would we be able to take her as well? I asked how old the cousin was and if she knew how to swim. He said yes, she's a tween. So I said of course. We get to the house and I meet this cousin. She's blind. Right away I felt nervous. I was gonna have 6 kids with no other adults and me. I've always been a little neurotic about water safety. My son is a great swimmer, and so are his friends. But I've never met this girl before, and I don't know if she's a strong swimmer. I was worried that I would constantly be watching her the whole time, and that would mean I wasn't paying enough attention to the other kids. So I decided to take the kids to the park instead. The kids complained, but I said there was a problem at the pool, and they got over it. They have short attention spans. The cousin is getting along with the boys, and even though she's a couple of years older, I did text all the parents to let them know where we were for safety. The little girl's aunt just texted me back, asking me what happened to the pool plan. I texted back that I had decided on the park instead. She asked why, and I said 6 kids at the pool is a lot, and the park is less stressful. She asked if I didn't take them to the pool because her niece is blind. I said 6 kids in water with 1 adult is just a lot. She said I was fine with 5, and it seems obvious I just didn't want to watch a blind child in the water. I responded that even if that's true, which, yeah, it is, I just didn't want to admit it, would that really be so bad? If I'm not comfortable with my ability to keep the kids safe in the water, I shouldn't supervise them in the water. She said if I can't keep kids safe in the water, I'm a bad mom, and that I was being a witch to a tween. I like this girl. She's so sweet, but I get anxious about water safety. Am I being a witch? Should I take them to the pool? 1 adult with 6 kids, 1 blind, does seem like a recipe for disaster. I feel stressed out just imagining it. Not the idiot at all. By the way, acting like a child who is blind and being placed in an unfamiliar environment is a non-issue. It is just stupid. What the heck is that lady's problem? I don't feel comfortable doing this thing, so I didn't do it. Cool. I have twins, and keeping an eye on 2 kids is hard enough. I can't imagine 6 and one of them being blind. Like, does she have a cane? Is she fully blind? Or can she see shapes? How much assistance does she need? Do you have to stay in the water with her? I would be so nervous in that situation. The woman who didn't inform you that the 6th child you would be watching has special needs is a massive idiot. OP went above and beyond by changing the plan altogether. It's not even that she outright refused to take the girl. She didn't even say something about it to the children. In my opinion, it was a very mature move. OP, the aunt, can complain all she wants, You made the safe choice and devised a plan that prioritized the safety of all the children. An alternate plan was devised to allow the children to have fun and return home safely. I agree, it was wrong for her to push the issue with you. She seems like the type to create prejudice and then complain about it. If there had been a problem at the pool, I bet she would have immediately blamed you for it. She sounds awful. My house is located on a street that is within walking distance of a very popular area of the city. This area is filled with restaurants, trendy bars, clubs, trendy shops, and there is a need for more parking. As a result, the street where I live is always filled with cars from non-residents. It is a public street, so anyone can park there, but parking laws are strictly enforced. 2 of these laws state that cars cannot park within 5 feet of a driveway and cannot block a driveway. I have a single driveway with a fence on one side. This means that if a car's bumper is even just 1 inch into my driveway, I am blocked in. Unfortunately, my city does not have enough police officers to enforce parking laws, so they allow tow companies to tow violators as long as the tow operator takes pictures or videos of the violation before hooking up the car. This has resulted in 2 companies mass mailing advertisements, free calendars, refrigerator magnets, etc. to all of the houses in my neighborhood. Recently, at a dinner party, the topic of conversation turned to inconsiderate people. I brought up the parking situation and how I have had over 3 dozen cars towed. I even joked about how popular I am with the tow companies, as they send me handwritten Christmas cards. Half of the room found this amusing, but the other half were appalled. Some people even got angry at me for having cars towed. I pointed out that I only call for a tow when I am blocked in and have places to be, such as work. They argued that it would have only cost me $20 to get a ride to work, but it cost the car owners hundreds of dollars to get their cars back. I argued that I should not have to pay anything extra to get to work, and it would not have cost them anything if they had followed the law. Things got heated. I have always believed that I am in the right in these situations, but half of my friends think I am wrong, to the point that some even got angry about it. Am I the one in the wrong here? $20 times 3 dozen instances where this has happened? No way. I should not have to pay $700 just to go out because others cannot follow parking ordinances. The audacity is astounding for someone to suggest that I should pay in order to not inconvenience others who are blocking my use of my own property. If someone actually said this to me, my mouth would hang open in disbelief and confusion for a second. It is completely absurd. Is it cheaper for me to have my rights ignored than for them to respect my rights? If they were fined or told that it was their problem, what did they expect for blocking someone's driveway like that? Not the idiot. I would do the same. People are quick to claim to be saints when they're not the ones in a moral quandary. I will say that my anxiety would flare up if I felt trapped in the house like that. Have you considered posting a sign at the end of the driveway that not parking 5 feet back will result in towing? It might save you some effort and then some cash.